one is table topics. Well, at Toastmasters, it is receiving a question that you didn't know you were going to get and conveying an answer between 1 minute to 2.5 minutes. So if we can pull our eyes over here to our timer, we have green, yellow or orange, depending on your eyes, and red. As the competitors are speaking, when they reach the 1 minute mark, it's going to turn green. When they reach the 1:30 mark, it's going to turn yellow. And when they reach the 2 minute mark, it's going to turn red. Now, there is something important to state. If you go over the 2 minute and 30 minute mark, you will unfortunately be disqualified, and they are not permitted to flash the lights to indicate that to you. So my advice to your competitors is if you see the red, you probably want to wrap up what you're saying. And if you give a fantastic speech and it takes you 1 minute and 10 seconds, and somebody else gives a speech that takes 2 minutes and 20 seconds, that has no impact on how it is graded. So you want to give a fantastic speech between 1 minute and 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So let's kick off the competition with Damien. Come on up here. As a reminder, I'm going to read off our contestant's name, our question, the question again, and then your name, Damien. I'm going to hand you the microphone, and then the clock is going to start as soon as you start to speak, okay? Damien, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Everyone clap for Damien.
The best advice that I've ever been given in my life happened very early. Fortunately for me, my dad gave me some advice that stuck with me throughout my whole life. And that advice was, Damien, we live in Japan, of all places, randomly. We're gonna move somewhere else, specifically like Ohio, very randomly. He was in the military. So what he told me, he said, no matter where you are, you won't always be there. So what I can tell you is to suck in everything you can like a sponge. Because no matter where you are, you can learn something from those around you. And regardless if they're always there for you, you can always keep what you learn. An example of this was when I lived in Japan. I knew I wasn't going to be always exposed to Japanese culture, but things that I learned from it, they were a very social people. They always liked to talk to each other. They were a team. And that's something I learned because of what my dad told me and the advice he gave me. Suck in everything you can around you because you won't always be there. Thank you.
Sarah, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Sarah, everyone give her a round of applause.
Thank you for that question. I've pondered this. You wake up in the morning, what am I going to do today? I'm feeling kind of tired. My body's aching. Can I call in? No. No, you can't. Because the best information, the best advice I ever got was be there. Be there for yourself. Be there for your loved ones. Show up in mind, in body, in spirit. Because we can never create, again, this moment. Right now, we are here. We are a community. We are a group, a fellowship, working towards a goal. And I was reminded of this last night. Do you want to know where I was? Yes. I'm tired. I am tired today because you know what I did last night? I was at a concert. 4 bands. Chase Field filled the field. And what did Green Day say? What did Billy Joe Armstrong, someone who has suffered from addiction and come back, and got addicted and come back again? He says, we're here. We are here. We are celebrating. We are joining. We're singing. We're dancing. We're enjoying. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for me. And that's the best advice I ever got. Be there. Thank you.
David, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? David.
Seize the day. Carpe diem. What does that mean? I mean, the Latin is familiar for a lot of people. They've heard it before. I remember the very first time that I really heard that phrase. I'd heard it before, but when I really heard it was from Robin Williams, Dead Poets Society. He was teaching a bunch of young men literature and trying to get them to get connected to who they were, that they were part of a tradition at the school, the boarding school where they lived. And I remember he walked them into a hallway and stood them in front of a panel of pictures of former alumni. And he asked them to lean in. And it surprised me, but they actually did. And it's because of the way he asked them. He said, lean in, listen. What do those voices have to tell you? And as the boys leaned in, and they looked a little confused, and they put their ears up to these pictures that obviously weren't going to respond back to them, and he whispered in the very, very quietest voice, Carpe diem. Seize the day. Oh, it sent chills up my spine. And you could see the effect that it had on those boys. They understood who they were and what their purpose was. Take advantage of the day that's in front of you. Take advantage of the opportunities that are there before you. Life, God, they give you these opportunities. Seize the day. Thank you.
Mongshi, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Mongshi.
Thank you, Tommy. The best advice that I received, which changed my life, is actually a difficult question because so far in my life, I have received a lot of good advice, which majority of them changed my life. As some of you might know, I was born in Japan, raised in China, lived in Australia for 3 years, went to New York for 2 years, San Francisco for 2 years, and then came here for the past 3 years. As I have a long journey of the life, I've met so many people, a lot of them become my mentors and give me good advice. However, if I can think about one that happened recently, was the past 1.5 years where I'm at my job. I had a very difficult time to prove myself to the company, to the people that I work with, because I'm at a very traditional construction industry, and as everyone can feel I don't look like a construction guy. However, it was a struggle. I was on site, being the project manager for a huge data center job. However, the advice after the job was done, after I finally get a promotion, everything, my mentor come back to me and told me, Longxi, the journey is a reward. And that was the best advice I get recently from someone. Thank you.
Eunice, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Eunice.
Best advice ever is to be like water. Let me explain. Water is something that fits anywhere. It also takes the shape of the vessel that you put it in. So if water goes into a teapot, the form is what? Correct. Also, water goes everywhere, right? So in a world that is going fast, imagine you're on this rapid, you're water. You go right, you go left, up and down. That is life. But when you think about shape to the form of what you experience at that moment in time, the world changes. You become less judgmental to yourself, about yourself. And you become the vessel that you want to be a part of. Let's call it change. People, who cares if the world is changing? Be what that pot or that vessel is embracing you to be. So be water. Thanks.
Mandar, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Mandar.
Respected fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, when I was a small kid in 11 years old, I used to play a lot of table tennis in my school. And during that time, I used to play only for winning. My only job, I wanted to win every game. And I was furious. I used to be very furious with my opponents. And those were the times when I didn't enjoy much, but I just wanted to win. Then my coach, he used to teach me, and he was also my senior in the school. He taught me a very simple lesson, because that day I had lost and I was crying. I had cried really bad that day, and for some reason I was really aghast with myself. And he said, Mandar, it's not about winning or losing in life. It's more about enjoying every moment. Think about what will happen if you win next time. There will be again a time when you will lose. So life is all about ups and downs. So sometimes you have to take life as it is. Wins and losses are just part of life, and it made me so much more secured about myself and what I really want to do in life. And it gave me a good perspective on taking things with a pinch of salt, the way as they are, without any judgments. And it made me think and bring a lot of perspectives which I had never thought before. So it was a life-changing experience in most ways, and I took it to different fields in my education, academics, career, and even my relationships. So I would suggest that to all of you, do not take anything too seriously, and certainly not for wins and losses. Thank you.
Paco, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Paco!
Yeah. Thank you for that question. And when you say that, one person comes to mind, is my mother. Agua que no has de beber, déjala correr. So basically, it means if you're not going to, literally it says, if you're not going to drink the water, then just let it go. Just let it flow. And my mother was trying to tell us, in a way, is, pick your friends. Pick pick the people around you that have the same values as you do. Because if you don't, then they might hurt you from a ethical perspective, moral perspective. And it just says, surround yourself with people that you can respect and that will respect you back. And those were words from my mother back in when I was about this big. And so that's what I would say is, that was probably the best advice that I got from my mother, is that one there. Thank you very much.
Jan, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Gian.
Instead of telling you that the advice I received, I wish I had given advice to a friend of mine whose service I went to last Saturday. I had no idea that she was going through a lot of domestic violence. And she never told anybody about how abusive her husband was. And then I saw her lying in a coffin, and she looked like a wax figure. So it happened when, had I known, I wish I had given her the opportunity. I wish I had the opportunity to know what was going on. But she hated everything, like everything was normal, like she was having a really great life. A good-looking, handsome husband who's a professor at a university, making good money, living in a big house in Scottsdale. She did all that, and having 2 children. She did all that because she wanted to save her face. I would like to ask her, is your face more important than your life? Now when the children called the police, after she got shot in the back by shotgun, 2 shots, the children said to police, we knew that was going to happen. Well, she had a very nice job. Beautiful woman, well educated. You wouldn't think she would not put up with domestic violence, but she did. She did all that for her face. Is your face more important than your safety and the life of yourself? And what about your children? If you love them so much, would you let them go through all the abusive relationship and all that crap? So I would say, the advice I want to give to any women who are in an abusive relationship is walk away, run, be independent, not only financially, but emotionally and physically. You got to love yourself. Thank you.
Okay, Shalaka. What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Shalaka.
Hello everyone. So since the beginning, since the childhood, I always wanted to do a lot of things. I went to karate classes, I went to my kho classes, I wanted to do a lot of studies, I wanted to do good in my academics. And as I graduated my 10th grade, I was beginning to do my plus 2 studies. I would see a lot of people, they would just go ahead and achieve a lot of great things in their life. I made them my inspiration and did my engineering. And we would see a lot of people are getting opportunities that I'm not. I tried to figure out myself. We didn't have internet then. I couldn't really listen to a lot of good podcasts. I was trying to figure out myself and getting some suggestions from my friends. One day, I met a lady and she owned a school. She was a famous personality in that area. She was among top 10 women in that area. I asked her, how are you doing so many things and how are you getting so many opportunities when people like me do not get it? She was like, you just need to ask. And that struck me so hard that whatever you need to get up, go to that person and just ask. If I need to know how Guasi speaks so nicely, and if I just sit here and I just keep on wondering why is that happening, I would never understand it. The only thing I can know it, go there and ask her, how do you do it? Thank you.
Banu, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Banu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topics Master, for that wonderful question. One of the best pieces of advice that I have ever received in my life actually came from something that I read from a famous entrepreneur named Tim Ferriss. And he actually put this on his desk, and he sees it every day. And to me, that little quote or piece of advice was so inspiring that I also bought it, framed it, and put it on my wall. What is that piece of advice? That piece of advice is that life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage. If you cower from a situation and don't jump in, your life essentially shrinks. And you keep feeding that fear, it'll shrink even further. But if you have courage and continue to feed that courage, your life continues to expand. That quote was so powerful to me that I thought it's critical to put it there on my wall so that I see it every single day as I walk by, leave my house, and come inside as well. Thank you very much.
Emma, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Emma.
I would say the best advice is trust your gut. Your gut feeling is more than just a feeling. It is an intuition combined with the perspectives around you, seeing body language, which is majority of language, and just going with that You can understand maybe a person's having a rough day, maybe they're having a good day. They could be having an amazing day and something happens and you see the difference. And maybe approaching them is wrong and because of a gut feeling that is telling you, hey, maybe they need space. Or maybe they should trust themselves because they truly understand something. When you understand something, there isn't always words. The gut feeling is that. And I always keep expressing gut feeling, but it's a deep down thing that cannot be described any other way. While there is bad advice, that has no words, and that is the gut feeling.
Judith, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Judith.
The best advice I've ever received was in 2012, I had the opportunity to travel with a gentleman who had polio at his young age. If you know polio, it comes back as you age later on. He was an OB doctor. And he looked at me and he said, listen, I have all the money in the world. I can't outlive my money. But what I don't have is health. Live every day as if it's the best day of your life. And he said, the best thing you can gain is travel the world. If you can't travel, read books. By traveling the world, you get to embrace other cultures. You learn so much than living in a bubble. For me, that's the best advice I've ever received. Reason being, I don't look through life on tunnel vision. I like to see the broader picture, okay? I embrace changes. I embrace differences. I embrace that, hey, we can agree to disagree, and I may learn something from you. So when I travel the world, I just got back from Dominica, and I make this a point of duty. Every year, I go somewhere I've never visited before. Yes, I like to live like a tourist, but I also like to travel and be amongst the locals. And what I learned from that is, when I travel the world, I pass that on to my kids. So when I got that advice from that gentleman, I then said, I'm no longer going to give you guys Christmas presents, but we will take trips somewhere once a year. Thank you.
Juan, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Juan.
Hello everyone, like he introduced me, my name is Juan. I've been going here for a bit, and to answer that question, what's the best advice I've ever received? I think there's no one specific advice that I'd say was the best advice I've ever received, but there's a general, class of advice, and that would be what I would say is, try to live the fullest to your life and don't be afraid of making mistakes. So there's actually, I think it was Jeff Bezos or someone like that who said that when they're trying to figure out what they want to do in life, they try to not do what's best, but instead try to live a life where they minimize the amount of regret they have. And a lot of times in life, especially when I was younger, I had a lot of anxiety, and I was often wanting to pursue an action but too afraid to do so. So after listening to that kind of advice and, you know, through different journeys and things like that, yeah, I'd say that was probably the best advice I've ever received. I don't have anything more to say, so thank you for your time and thank you.
Tony, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Tony!
The best advice I received was from a mentor that I had in San Antonio, Texas, when I was doing my high school years there. And he said to me, remember this quote, if it is to be, it is up to me. And I've heard that quote a few times. And one of the reasons that I really like it, and I think that it has helped me a lot, because like many of you, we are afraid of speaking in public, or we are afraid of doing anything that is going to mean some sacrifice. But that quote tells me exactly, if I am going to be anything in life, it is up to me. I cannot blame anybody at all. And that's what I've been trying to teach my kids as well. I've been trying to teach them that they have to take responsibility for what they do, and if they take responsibility for what they do, then they will see the impact. And even if they don't feel like they're living their dream with their things that they do, they are manifesting the spirit of it is to be, it is up to me.
Marco, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Marco!
I would say the best advice I received, of course, was from my father. The advice that he mentioned this phrase that I really like it a lot is the phrase say, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than be in a garden during a war. So that means that it's better to be prepared always for things that opportunities will come, and also it's always be prepared, even if it is no opportunities, you are ready to go. And I love that because in my life, I've always been taking that advice. I have a little story about that. I was playing soccer, like any South America guy, they don't play soccer. I was 14 years old, like, I need to make it to the team. And my dad always mentioned that phrase, so I always was practicing and training. I would say every day after soccer, I still training. I wasn't that the best. Even the coach said, you don't have that talent like a soccer player, you know, like a Brazilian, that you can move around and do the little dancing. But I was very disciplined, so I say, okay, what I have good things on me that I can take advantage in this game. So I was a good physical and runner. So, okay, the best position for me was be a defense. So I didn't have to be the forward guy that has to do the little, like I would say, like a salsa dance, a little bit like a cheerleader. So I have to be the guy that take the ball away and give the team back. And that was the part I enjoy a lot. And that's the part, even if I was training every day, I still didn't make it to the main team. And the soccer is 11 players, right, that they play, and then you have the people that sit on the bench. So I always was sitting on the bench. And I mean, I love to watch my teammates, how they play. I always cheer for them. But at the same time, in my head, like everybody, they say, you know, when is my opportunity? When is my opportunity? I've been working so hard for this. So there is a day, you know, that we have this tournament. I am from Peru, by the way. So we have this tournament outside the capital, Lima. And all the players, they were injury players. And even there were injury players, they didn't prefer to put me in the main team because they say I wasn't ready yet. But for me, I was ready. And then and that day, I said, I never gonna play. And I was sitting on the bench, literally, I didn't put it, I put my sock like I was ready to play. And I put, trying to have my normal shorts, I have my beach, I was ready to go to the pool. So I didn't have like a normal shorts, I have like a regular, normal play sport. But something happened that one of the teammates got injured, so the coach turned around. It's like a movie, right? Turn around and you see like this is the last guy on the bench. Okay, get in, Marco. So I get in. I was nervous, of course, but at the same time I was in a good physical condition that helped me to overcome, the other teams. The other team was really good, but my physical condition helped me to chase the players, right? So anyway, to make this short, I was ready to go, and by the time I finished the soccer game, everybody was clapping to me, and I never left the team anymore. I stayed in the team, and I became one of the best players in high school, and actually the coach said, you can become a professional. But I didn't pursue it, but it was a nice story. Be prepared always. Thank you.
John, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? John.
The best advice I've ever received was to do things by the book. And I've been doing the opposite my whole life because me and my dad never got along that well. Ex-military, retired, has moved on to the federal sector. I'm a successful entrepreneur, and the best advice I got was do things by the book. My reaction was to throw a tantrum, prove him wrong. It's a double-edged sword because now I don't do that well with authority. But at the same time, it still gives me the determination to prove someone wrong, even if there's no one to prove it to. Which is probably an egotistical thing, but that habit has stuck with me. So if I think I'm gonna fail at something or go broke in entrepreneurship, I try to prove that idea wrong. How can I push back on that stubborn idea, thinking, my dad's there telling me, I'll go broke, I'll prove him wrong, right? Or I'll mess up this relationship, or I'll screw up this interview, or I suck at sports, right? So imagine him saying something negative to me, then I'll do the opposite, prove him wrong. I'll get beat up in MMA. No. Thank you.
Nish, what is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? What is the best advice you have ever received, and how has it changed your life? Nish.
Just before entering this room, I had my patience tested. And it's positive. I came in at 7 o'clock. I'm the last person to get inside this room. I've been waiting for this speech. Just imagine how much patience I had. When you come to me, touch me, you will get the patience from me to you. It'll just pass you like current. The jolt of patience to you. I never believed in patience, throughout my life, ever since I was a kid. I always wanted things to happen so fast, quickly. I wanted to earn so much money so quickly. I never thought it takes patience, hard work, and courage. Until I realized, and I'm realizing it right now, just before I came into this room, I got tested for patience. And it came out to be positive. I realized that I have so much patience within me. Today, I am on my 75 hard journey. Anyone know what 75 hard? Yeah. You have to do 2 workouts a day, 2 45 minutes workouts a day, 1 outdoor, 1 indoor, read 10 pages a day, and then follow a strict diet. I am on my 32nd day. And I am tracking it in the certified heart habit. It is testing my patience. Guess what? I test my patience every single day. It's been slowly improving. Right before coming inside this room, I tested positive for patience. Sometimes people ask me, Nish, I want to get to good shape. I was not like this. I competed for badminton in a state level or district level back in India. But eventually, due to concentrating more on work and putting all my efforts professionally, I lost hope on I lost interest in fitness. And due to which, I grew out of shape. Only to realize that it takes patience every single day to get back to that shape. So one single advice that I would give to not just myself, but for everyone, is to keep testing those patients every single day and make sure that you have that positive. Thank you.